just a warning, the topic of this video is sensitive. I have information detailing violence against women and children. It's tough information to hear about, but it's necessary. It needs to be exposed. So ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, which Trump uses as his personal militia, or I guess I should say Stephen Miller's personal Gestapo. As you know, they've been rounding up immigrants all over the country, some of them undocumented, some of them legal residents, and some of them US citizens, denying them of their right to due process, kidnapping them, and sending them off to concentration camps and detention centers, sometimes in countries that they have no association with. Well, the ICE Gestapo, turns out, some of the agents have been sexually assaulting women. I want to make sure I clear something up too. I'm not talking about impersonators, people who are pretending to be ICE agents. This is also a huge problem. I'll talk about that in this video as well. People are impersonating ICE agents, which is not that difficult at all, right? They wear masks to cover their face, they drive unmarked vehicles, and 99% of the time they're not wearing badges. So yeah, anyone can do it. And it's empowering abusive freak shows all over the country to impersonate them so that they can get close to women and abuse them, assault them. I'm going to show you the evidence here in a moment. Before I get into it real quick, I have to say thank you to the person who commented on a past video asking me to cover this story. If you have a topic or a story you'd like to hear about, leave a comment and I'll look into it. So let's get into the details of this disgusting, horrifying situation. There's two things happening here, right? First, crazy people, abusive, psycho men, are being empowered by ICE to impersonate other ICE agents, giving them easier access to their victims. And the second thing is, actual ICE agents are assaulting and abusing women as well. I have a couple articles talking about the impersonators, so let's cover that first. So in the article, it says, allegations of ICE impersonators abusing women span the country. I'll read some key points in the article. I'm not going to go word for word. The DWC, which is the Democratic Women's Caucus, I believe, they said members of ICE have been complicit in allowing attacks involving impersonators to continue. These tactics invited perpetrators of violence against women to take advantage of the chaos by impersonating masked ICE agents in order to target and sexually assault women. ICE impersonators have been arrested in multiple states following incidents of men posing as federal officers. Women have filed complaints in Maryland, North Carolina, and New York who say they were raped, robbed, and assaulted by men pretending to be enforcing immigration laws. A Latina woman said she was raped by a Washington, D.C. man posing as an immigration officer after she was forced into a car. She said she had been threatened with deportation if she didn't comply. In New York, police said a man posing as an ICE officer attempted to rape a 51-year-old woman after he reportedly approached the woman and said, "Immigration," but did not show a badge. Police said that the man allegedly pulled the woman into a basement stairwell and assaulted her. Here's another article from a local station. It says, a man from Santa Rosa is accused of impersonating an officer and threatening to call ICE and sexually assaulting a woman. A 42-year-old man is in custody after police say he sexually assaulted a woman while posing as an police officer and threatening to turn her over to U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Santa Rosa police said that the guy approached a woman sleeping in her car. Investigators say the guy was employed as a private security guard, wore a uniform, and forced his way inside the victim's car. The guy is facing charges of committing sexual assault and assault with intent to commit rape. People across the country are feeling empowered by ICE to do these things. Why do I say that? Videos of actual ICE encounters have been going viral on social media, and these ICE agents are, like I said earlier, wearing head coverings or masks to protect their identity, showing up in unmarked vehicles, wearing plain clothing, not wearing badges. So when 2 or 3 of them are forcing people inside of their vehicle, it looks like a kidnapping. And it's allowed. It's completely legal for these ICE agents to do that, partly thanks to the Lake and Riley Act, right? But these videos are going viral. So these freak shows, these psychotic freaks are being empowered to do the same thing, but they have even worse intention, and that's to assault women, to abuse them. So these assholes all over the country are putting on face coverings and masks, wearing similar gear that the ICE agents are. And again, they're in unmarked vehicles. They look like regular dudes, and they're coercing these Latino women into thinking that he's ICE or a police officer and then proceeds to abuse that woman. This wouldn't be happening, at least on this large of a scale, if ICE wasn't empowering these actions. Bad people are seeing what ICE is doing and they're like, if they can do it, I can do it. If they can get away with it, maybe I can too. Now, thankfully, these people are being arrested, but as you can imagine, there's likely cases where this is happening and nobody's saying anything. If this doesn't enrage you, if this doesn't make your blood boil, then nothing does. Then nothing will. So that's the first part of the situation. Abusive, psychotic freaks all over the country are feeling empowered by ICE's lack of accountability, and we're seeing a huge uptick in the number of people who are impersonating police officers and ICE agents, coercing women, threatening them with deportation if they don't do sexual acts, or just outright assaulting them, right? But the second part of this story is just as bad. There are many reports of women, children, and pregnant women at ICE detention facilities being abused. Okay, so let's get into this. This article from The Guardian is titled "Horrific. Report reveals abuse of pregnant women and children at U.S. ICE facilities." A report from Senator John Ossoff's office found 510 credible reports of human rights abuses since Trump's inauguration. The article says a new report has found hundreds of reported cases of human rights abuses at U.S. immigration detention centers. The alleged abuses uncovered include deaths in custody, physical and sexual abuse of detainees, mistreatment of pregnant women and children, inadequate medical care, overcrowding and unsanitary living conditions, inadequate food and water, exposure to extreme temperatures, denial of access to attorneys, and child separation. Just an absolute fucking travesty, a disgusting misuse of power from this administration to be doing this to these people. It says among the reports cited, there are allegations of human rights abuses, including 41 cases of physical and or sexual abuse of detainees while in the custody of the DHS, including reports of detainees facing retaliation for reporting abuses. Even more disgusting. The report cites 14 credible reports of pregnant women being mistreated in DHS custody, including a case of a pregnant woman being told to drink water in response to a request for medical attention, and another case where a partner of a woman in DHS custody reported the woman was pregnant and bled for days before DHS staff took her to a hospital where she was left in a room alone to miscarry without water or medical assistance. Jesus Christ. This next article was published at the beginning of this month in August. It says, as of late June, about 22,000 women were being held in ICE custody, nearly 40% of the agency's total detainee population. According to a new report, under the Trump administration's aggressive immigration crackdown, more women detained by immigration authorities are being exposed to sexual violence, mistreatment, and the denial of basic rights in detention centers across the U.S. Many women interviewed who were in custody said they were raped, denied medical care during their pregnancies, and subjected to other human rights violations. Here's another article titled, Advocacy Groups File Federal Lawsuit Seeking Justice for Woman Abused at a Florida Immigration Detention Center. So this was back in July. Those advocacy groups filed a lawsuit on behalf of a 33-year-old woman named Anna, who was subject to abuse while she was held at the Baker County Detention Center, a county jail operating as an immigration and customs enforcement detention facility. The lawsuit details unlawful sexual harassment, excessive force, medical neglect, and so much more. So apparently, this isn't the only lawsuit coming from this detention center. In November 2024, a whistleblower disclosure by a former medical practitioner at Baker came forward regarding blatant breaches of federal law at the facility, including denial of basic medical care, falsifying records, racial and sexual harassment. And on top of that, the article says the Baker detention facility has a long history of sexual harassment and abuse. In 2024, a former Baker officer was convicted of sexual battery of a detained woman. In 2022, the ACLU of Florida filed a Prison Rape Elimination Act complaint outlining a pattern of sexual abuse at the facility, citing multiple cases of officers photographing women in their undergarments and watching them as they showered and changed clothes. That is 100% sexual abuse. Moral of the story here is, if you live anywhere near this Baker detention facility, you better run for the hills. I wouldn't want to be living anywhere near where these freaks work at. It says here, Amy Godshall, an immigrants' rights attorney at the ACLU of Florida, said, unfortunately, the abuse that Anna occurred at Baker reflects a broader and deeply troubling pattern of inhumane conditions in ICE detention centers across Florida. Whew. That's a lot. It's a lot of information. It's sad. It's so sad to see this systemic abuse of power, and especially on a population that is already so marginalized. A lot of these women who are detained in these facilities are being so unlawfully. Almost none of these women got due process, especially the ones who are legal residents. If you're watching this and you're kind of like me and you're like, what do I do with this information, right? That's a common thought to have when you hear some fucked up shit. Here's what you should do. Share this video, share the articles. I'm going to put all the articles in the description of this video. Any other creator who's talking about this issue, share their videos, like and comment on all the videos. If the article has an option for you to comment below, do that. It pushes out the story more, so more people hear about this. Just keep shining light on these tragic, tragic stories that are happening because this administration has proven, and they have said verbally, that they don't really care about the Constitution. They don't care about human rights. They don't care about due process. They don't care about immigrants, obviously. But thank you for watching this video. Like I said, share this, share all the articles, share other creators who are talking about this. That's the easiest thing you can do. The next thing you should do is write emails and letters to your local lawmakers and to your statewide lawmakers, asking them to make more of this issue. Because there's not a lot of people talking. I had to spend almost an hour to find these articles because they're being suppressed. That is sad.